9:17, welcome back to the morning show with Jeff and Will here on AM 1700 WRCR Haverstraw and WRCR.com. Joining us now as she does this time every Monday morning, it is Tina Traster of RCBizJournal.com, the Rockland County Business Journal. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Rockland County. How's everybody today?
We're doing well. How are you? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can. You can hear you perfectly clear. Yeah.
Let's talk about constitutional law.
Something we always want to talk about here on the morning show with Jeff and Will.
What's that?
We have like a segment every week, Constitutional Law with Jeff and Will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be a good one. Because right now what we're going to talk about is that the town of Haverstraw must refrain from supporting the Knights of Columbus with taxpayers' dollars because the arrangement violates the separation between church and state, according to an organization, nonprofit organization called the Freedom from Religion Foundation. This is a 50-year-old nonprofit organization that fights to preserve the separation between church and state through litigation and advocacy. They are not to be trifled with. They have won scores and scores of cases all over the nation. The sort of cases where municipalities are supporting churches, displaying the commandments, requiring Bible study in classrooms. That's the kind of work that they do. And they became aware of what Howard Phillips and the town of Haverstraw are doing with regard to the Knights of Columbus. To refresh listeners, you may recall that we have talked about the Knights of Columbus were on track to sell their Village of Haverstraw building for $2.4 million. And sort of at the 11th hour, the deal was scuttled, and the town has been working to get the building donated to the town. Now, in and of itself, that might be okay if a religious organization wants to donate a building to a town, and it's just that simple. Still would need Attorney General Charities Bureau sign-off anyway because it's a nonprofit. But this arrangement has become more muddied and more complicated. Over the last 9 months or so, the Knights have received almost 100,000 taxpayer dollars from the town of Haverstraw to cover their rent and their expenses. And in addition to that, the deal going forward seems to promise that once the town takes over the building, the Knights will have a certain amount of space, like an office, a closet, and some other. It's not a lot of space, but they'll have space in perpetuity in the building. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem because, according to the Freedom from Religious Foundation, as well as an attorney's letter that had been sent to Phillips and the town from the developer's attorney, the affordable housing developer's attorney, was
Tina?
Planning to purchase this site. They also sent a similar letter.
Hey,
now,
Tina?
The Freedom from Religion organization says that government funds cannot be given away to religious organizations in order to help advance their religious missions. Right now, they start with the opening letter, which is we write to ask the town of Haverstraw to cease providing taxpayer funds to support religion and any ongoing entanglements with the Knights.
Hey, Tina, Tina, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting, but if you don't mind, we do have, I believe it's Todd from the Knights of Columbus on the phone now who wants to contribute to this conversation we're having, if you don't mind. So let's go to Todd. Hopefully he'll be able to hear us. Todd, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, how you doing? This is Jeff from the Morning Show. You got Tina Traster talking as well. Did you have a question, or did you just want to clarify something?
Yes, I just want to add a point that Tina may or may not have made. She's discussing this morning the the acquisition of the Knights of Columbus Hall by the town of Haverstraw. And a point that I don't think maybe has been put out there is that this is not really the Knights of Columbus that have made this decision. This decision was made by basically by 5 men on the board of a holding company that actually owns the building. There are 240 members of the Knights of Columbus, but essentially this decision, this real estate transaction, was made by a board of 5 men. One of whom is now deceased, and another is a member of the village government. So essentially, you end up with, and I was on this board and the dissenting vote. So essentially, you have 2 men making a $2.4 million decision for 240 people because that's our membership. The other point I wanted to make with Tina is that I've been accused of being a disgruntled Grand Knight. I was the former Grand Knight of the organization. I'm not disgruntled, but I am very much concerned for the future of the Knights of Columbus. And for my efforts, I was born in this town. I have been a lifelong taxpayer here. I was basically humiliated at a town board meeting by the town supervisor for really trying to put out my concerns that the way the transaction is going, it turns Catholicism into the state religion of the town of Haverstraw.
Todd, let me jump in here for 1 second, okay? Because the Knights are essentially being duped, and I'll tell you why. Because even if the Attorney General approves this transaction and the town is able to accept the donation of the building, any legal scholar or student of law can tell you that the town will not be able to allow a religious organization to be housed in a municipally owned building, and that the town will not be able to give it free rent, continue to pay its utilities, make repairs, and allow it to display religious regalia on government-owned property. So, what the Knights are, they're really being duped here because eventually, once this transaction is complete, all it's going to take is one taxpayer to file a lawsuit challenging the use of taxpayer dollars to provide a sanctuary to the Knights of Columbus, and the whole plan is going to unravel. And what's going to happen is, and I think this is to your point, Todd, is that the Knights are going to find themselves donating their sole asset to a town and then having nowhere to go, no money, no sanctuary, no way to sustain or reestablish themselves. So, I think that there are many who believe that the Knights are really being taken here and that they're going to have nothing to show for this decision. And, I just have to say, and maybe you can speak to this, but it's really surprising that their lawyers have not advised them on this risk because it's so basic. It's so basic.
Yes.
Any thoughts, Todd?
Yes, absolutely. And again, the point I'm emphasizing is that the Knights are really being duped, as you say, by a very small group. It's the 56 West Broad Street Holding Company making this decision arbitrarily for 240 people, in spite of what the current leadership might say, and it very much concerns me. To your point, that all our symbols of our religion under this agreement are going to be covered up and taken down, and essentially we're going to be the only council of the Knights of Columbus in the county that is going to be meeting under this kind of arrangement. There's 8 councils, and the other 7 all either have their own independent facilities or they are located in a Catholic church. With this, to me, certainly for Rockland, this would be unprecedented.
Yeah, it seems like somebody really didn't think this thing through very clearly. And another thing that's strange is the agreement calls for this $7,000 a month. Okay, and what's very odd about that number, or very obvious, I think, maybe even about that number, is that the Knights had been paying, I think, tell me if I'm right here, about $2,500 per quarter for the use of the building. I'm sorry, the town was paying the Knights $2,500 per quarter for the use of the building for senior meetings, for things and whatnot. And the agreement upped this thing to $7,000 per month, which is like an 800% increase. And what it seems to be about is that it covers the $30,000 a year in property taxes that the Knights were struggling with. But if the Attorney General doesn't sign off on this, then the agreement says that the remaining lease drops back to $2,000 a month. So it seems like it's really sort of a game that the town has played to keep the Knights comfortable, to cover all their expenses. Very much according to the Freedom from Religion, a misuse of taxpayer dollars, and something that, again, I said was echoed in a letter that was sent by the affordable housing developer who was slated to build affordable housing on the site, Kings Catherine LLC. They have said the same thing, that this is a misuse of taxpayer dollars and a violation of the separation of church and state.
Hey, Tina, I apologize. We're going to have to end it right there. We do have another show coming up after this. Todd, thank you so much for joining us as well. Todd from the Knights of Columbus, formerly of the
pleasure.
Knights of Columbus. We appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. Tina, we did have a caller with a question. Are you having any more coffee events coming up in the future?
What month are we in? October. Yeah, after the election dust settles down, and hopefully before Thanksgiving festivities will start up.
Beautiful. You'll let us know when. You'll let us know when you schedule that. Thank you, Tina, so much. Go to visit Tina's website, rcbizjournal.com. You can sign up for e-newsletters and other sorts of things. Thanks, Tina. We'll talk to you again next Monday.